Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey. We're going right into the heart of data-driven decision making.
hmm
Specifically, we're focusing on, the critical role of a decision support analyst.
Right. These are the people, the navigators really, who take all that raw, often messy data.
Oh yeah, messy is definitely the word sometimes.
Exactly. And they turn it into a company's strategic compass. It impacts, well, pretty much everything, doesn't it? Product development, market strategy,
Absolutely. And our insights today, they're actually sparked by a Kaplan resource. It outlines top interview questions for this exact role.
which gives us a great window, yeah. A unique look into the competencies that really matter for these analysts.
So we'll be peeling back the layers, trying to see what it really takes to, excel here.
And it's more than just being good with numbers, right?
Mhm.
Beyond the tech skills, it's about strategic thinking, solving problems when things get tough,
Yeah.
and that crucial skill of communicating complex stuff simply. So whether you're maybe thinking about this as a career or you're prepping for an interview,
Or even just curious, curious about how data actually shapes business today.
exactly. This deep dive should give you some, hopefully, some genuine aha moments.
And that's the plan. Our mission here is to pull out the most important nuggets, the key truths from these questions. We want to help you understand not just what a great decision support analyst does.
But why they're so vital, why their role is just indispensable now.
Okay, so let's dive in. Let's unpack the very first question from that Kaplan guide. It really sets the baseline, I think.
It does.
It asks, can you describe your experience working with data analysis and decision support?
And this isn't just asking for like a quick resume summary.
No, exactly. It's digging deeper. It wants concrete examples, years in the field, sure, but also the specific tools you've actually used.
So the whole life cycle, right? Collection, processing, the
Yeah.
deep analysis.
Right. And the guide really emphasizes the ability to create and implement data models. These are kind of the blueprints for how data connects.
Super important for predictions, simulations, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it also calls for a strong grasp of statistical methods,
Mm.
knowing your regression from your correlation and when to use them.
Applying them correctly to find those patterns.
And of course, visualization. Being good with data viz tools, because a chart needs to tell a story, doesn't it? Instantly.
Absolutely. Make it understandable even if you're not a data expert.
And the really crucial part they mention, showing you've actually presented findings to stakeholders.
And made recommendations they could actually use.
Yes.
Actionable ones.
Yes, actionable. That's
Mm.
the key word.
You know, what's really interesting here is how it immediately gets into the practical toolkit. It's not just listing software you know.
Right.
It's how you've applied those tools to find insights and, critically, to actually guide decisions. Which brings up a big question, doesn't it? In a field that changes so fast, I mean constantly, how do analysts even stay sharp? How do they avoid becoming, well, obsolete?
That's a perfect segue, actually, into the second question.
Yeah.
It focuses right on that growth aspect.
Okay.
How do you stay current with the latest data analysis and decision support tools and techniques?
So what do they suggest?
Well, the guide highlights specific strategies, things like, continuous learning, obviously, but actively experimenting with new tech.
Getting your hands dirty?
Exactly. Attending workshops, conferences, training sessions, and also participating in industry forums and groups, being part of the conversation.
It's about being proactive, not just reactive.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the bigger picture, staying current isn't just like a nice to have for your career.
No, it feels essential.
It really is. It's fundamental for the integrity of the insights you generate and for the quality of the decisions that get made based on them.
Keeps the analytical compass pointing true north, as you said.
Yeah, adapting to new currents, making sure your data isn't stale or, worse, misleading. It really underscores that lifelong learning is just a core requirement here. It's built into the job.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, experience, tools, and keeping those skills sharp. Let's pivot now to the practical side, applying it all.
Right, the projects themselves.
Question 3 gets right into that. How do you approach a new data analysis or decision support project?
The starting point. Always tricky.
Totally. And the guide says the initial steps are absolutely crucial. First, really understanding the business problem. What are we actually trying to solve? What are the objectives?
Not just jumping into the data.
Exactly. Then it's all about collaboration, working closely with the stakeholders to define the scope, the requirements.
Making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, because that ensures the analysis is actually serving a real business need, not just, an interesting academic question.
In there.
Huh. Then the guide details the core work. Gathering the data, cleaning it the fun part.
Oh yeah, the glamour.
Performing that initial exploration and analysis, and then developing a solid plan for the deeper dives, the modeling.
Setting out the roadmap.
And throughout all of this, a constant need. Clear, consistent communication with those stakeholders, keeping them in the loop, making sure the project stays on track.
It sounds very structured, which is good, but also very collaborative.
It is.
And it emphasizes, again, that problem definition up front and the stakeholder engagement, making sure it's tied to a real need. But let's be real. Data projects rarely go perfectly smoothly, do they?
Oh, never. That structured process inevitably hits bumps.
So what happens then? What about the messy reality?
Okay, now I get to the really interesting part, the challenge question. Number 4. Can you give an example of a particularly challenging data analysis or decision support project you have worked on and how you overcame the challenges?
The tell me about a time question.
Classic. Exactly. And the example in the source material, it highlights really common hurdles, like analyzing a huge, complex data set.
Multiple sources.
Yeah, multiple sources, different formats, all messy. Specific obstacles they mentioned included needing to clean and pre-process that data.
Which often means writing custom scripts.
Right.
Little bits of code in Python or R or something.
Precisely. Specialized recipes to automate the cleaning or analysis, saving tons of manual effort. And dealing with, the bane of every analyst's existence, missing data, inconsistent data. The solutions they highlighted involved using advanced data wrangling techniques, basically, the art of wrestling messy data into shape.
Yeah, transforming it into something usable.
And crucially, collaborating. Working closely with IT, with other departments to make sure the data was actually accurate and reliable before basing decisions on it.
The key thing here is that it tests practical problem solving under pressure.
Right.
It's not just about your technical chops. It shows resilience, resourcefulness, teamwork.
Definitely teamwork.
I mean, anyone who's ever just tried to merge two simple spreadsheets knows the pain of inconsistent formats or missing values.
Oh, yeah.
So this question really probes, can you innovate? Can you adapt when you hit those inevitable real-world data roadblocks?
Okay, so let's say you've done it. You've done the amazing analysis, wrestled the data into submission, overcome the challenges. Now what?
What does it all mean?
Exactly. What does it mean for the people who actually have to make the decisions based on your work? Which brings us nicely to question 5.
The communication piece.
Yes. How do you communicate your findings and recommendations to non-technical stakeholders?
This is so critical.
It really is. The key strategies they outline are things like using clear, simple language. Obvious, but hard.
Very hard. Avoid the jargon.
Totally. Visualizing the data effectively, like we talked about, so it's easy to grasp. Using real-world examples, maybe case studies, to help stakeholders really feel the impact.
Yeah, connected to their world. I remember seeing this brilliant analyst once, incredibly smart. But they presented their findings with so much technical detail, so much jargon, you could literally see the executive's eyes just glaze over.
Yeah. Faster than a Krispy Kreme donut, like you said, the insights were totally lost.
Completely lost. And the guide also stresses transparency, right?
Yes. Explaining the methods you use clearly so stakeholders understand how you got there. It builds trust.
Absolutely. That communication bridge is just paramount. It connects the complex analysis to the actionable insight.
Otherwise, all that hard work gets lost in translation.
Exactly. Data is only valuable if it can be understood and then, applied.
Applied, right.
And beyond just understanding it, there's another really crucial layer here. Responsibility. Handling the data itself.
Good point.
Which makes me think, how do analysts make sure they're maintaining trust and integrity with the data they handle? Especially sensitive data.
That leads perfectly to the final question, number 6, and it's maybe the most critical one today.
Let's hear it.
How do you ensure data security and privacy in your work? Absolutely. Core practices mentioned are things like diligently following industry best practices and sticking to the company's own data security policies. Seems basic, but vital.
Unnegotiable.
Specific actions include protecting sensitive data, Personal information is the big one. And only accessing data you actually need for the job, not just browsing.
Principle of least privilege.
Right. And ensuring data is stored securely, transmitted securely, having measures in place to prevent breaches or unauthorized access.
You know, what's striking here is how this question shifts gears a bit. It moves beyond just technical skill.
Yeah, it's about ethics.
Professional ethics, accountability. It's fundamentally about building and maintaining trust, safeguarding that information.
It's that old saying, with great power comes great responsibility. With great data
Comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a bedrock expectation for anyone in this role. The consequences of getting this wrong, a data breach.
catastrophic, reputationally, financially.
Everything. So this isn't optional. It's a core competency.
Okay, so we've unpacked these 6 key questions. Stepping back, what does this all really mean for you, the listener? Maybe you're thinking about this career, or maybe you're just interested in how companies use data better.
Well, I think these questions, taken together, they paint a really clear picture. A decision support analyst is way more than just a data cruncher. They're that crucial link, that human translator between the raw information and the strategic action.
So they need to be analytically sharp, obviously, tech savvy.
Yep, but also incredibly resilient when things get tough. And critically exceptional communicators.
And ethical guardians of the data. Can't forget that.
Absolutely, diligent guardians.
It sounds like a really dynamic role, one that absolutely demands continuous learning. You can't just rest on your laurels.
No way. And you need that blend, understanding the tech tools deeply, but also understanding people, collaboration.
That ability to translate the complex, the abstract data into clear advice someone can actually act on, that seems to be the real differentiator.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, you know, these skills, these competencies we've talked about, they aren't just for someone with the exact title Decision Support Analyst.
That's a good point. Where else do we see them?
We see similar demands for roles like, say, an analytical strategist or a business analyst, even a methods analyst sometimes.
Right.
It just shows how broadly applicable these skills are and how valuable they are across lots of different professional areas today.
So this deep dive, it's really unpacked just how multifaceted this role is, from wrestling with messy, inconsistent data.
All the way to safeguarding sensitive information and communicating those heart-won insights clearly.
Yeah.
It really highlights that essential blend you need. Technical skill, strategic thinking, and that ethical responsibility. That's what turns raw data into real, meaningful impact.
Okay, so let's leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something provocative, perhaps.
Go for it.
In this world we live in, it's drowning in data, right? How do we as individuals, as organizations, how do we cultivate not just the ability to collect data or process it?
But the wisdom.
Yes, the wisdom to actually interpret it and act on it responsibly, ethically.
That's a big question. Maybe think about how these principles, we discussed analysis, problem solving, responsible data, handling how they might apply to the flood of information you encounter every day.
Yeah, and the decisions you make based on that information, big or small.
Something to chew on.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you feel a little more well-informed now.
And maybe, just maybe, a lot more curious about the hidden power of data shaping the world all around us.